Okay, I have some more information I want to share with CSV files that you use to change or modify, edit, add memory channels to the Icom 705 in particular, though it applies to the 7300 on a smaller scale. And I'm also looking at the ID5100 in lieu of Openspot. I decided not to go for Openspot Pro. I've received a couple of replies, and I get the sense that they're not going to be supporting the app that will allow you to use the iPhone. It's apparently not compatible right now for the iPhone 12 and iPhone 15. And since they've released this other device, very expensive, it wouldn't answer my question directly, but reading in between the lines, I think Openspot Pro is probably on a limited lifespan. You can end up with a device that's been sitting on your shelf after a while. And the main feature that I wanted was the app, and now that's definitely not supported or going to be updated to work on iPhone 12 or 15, and who knows what other phones. So that's out. Yes, they did reduce it to, I think, to 200 pounds or so, which is still about $400 by the time you arrive. The regular price was around $600 by the time it arrives here in Canada. And their other device, all-in-one type of thing, it's even more expensive. And I might as well put that same amount and put it towards an ID5100, a device I know that will last for years. So, first of all, let's go back to the CSV files. I know, let me hit the menu. I'm going to go to DV memory, repeater list. You can download the Icom and have all the DVs or D-Star repeaters on your list. It's under 2,400 records, and I believe there's a limit of 2,500. But I was only interested in D-Star repeaters in Canada, in areas that I travel. And I've lived across Canada, currently in Alberta. We do love exploring BC, Northwest Territory, Yukon, places of that sort, and even Alaska. So we haven't put in the Alaska yet, but it's there. It's going to come. So basically, I've designed in such a way, this by editing the file, I use the repeater book, which is the quick and easiest way. Just select D-Star, download it, and open it up, and you can edit. But in my case, I use a program called Filemaker Pro. Okay. I'll give you more details about that, and let me go back to the memory channel. Home, that's basically where I keep the most used frequencies or repeaters that I talk to. And I have a list of broken down, so I have a list of FM Calgary repeaters, 2 meters. And also, let me go, 70 centimeters. And digital voice repeaters in Calgary, and all the digital voice in Alberta and the gateways. And then I have to admit, on FM broadcasts with wide FM, the audio was great. So there's a few times I listened to it, but it's there in case I have a need, especially when I'm off-grid, camping, remote. If I need to listen to some news or weather, the AM broadcast band is there too. And I have HF bands that's just starting. Most of the frequencies that I used, the app I use, what's it called now? SD Control. Automatically changes the frequencies and bands when, for example, I'm using FT8. So basically it's you know, a mixture of 6 meters, 10 meters. I'm still determining what frequencies I want to store in there. So I have a room there for 99 if I want. Mind you, just to let you know, the memory channel on the Icom 75 is limited to 500 records. So you have to be careful about duplication. Why have Calgary repeaters in one memory and then have it repeated again, for example, in Alberta, a list? So now I travel around a bit, whether it be RV, camping, things of that sort. And depending where I am, I have broken down all the repeaters via cities. Here in Alberta is about, I think, 20 or so cities that have actually repeaters. So Calgary, Delta. So all the repeaters with with towns beginning with C would be in this list. Okay, and everything with D's will be in this list, and likewise with E. And Olds only has one, but if I'm in Olds, which is not that far or nothing, I can quickly say, okay, what's the repeaters here? I have it. So very little searching. All I need to know is the name of the town that I'm close to, and then from there I can determine it. So Red Deer, Valley View, and Wainwright. So 28 out of 99 memory banks, so groups I'm using. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to switch over now to my laptop. I would recommend that you use a repeater book to update the D-Star, because the Icom ones that they provide us, I think it's 2-3 years old. So select state, province, country, whatever area you're in. And if you're just looking for D-Star, select D-Star. And I'm going to illustrate here by selecting all, which is Alberta. And then you have an option to export. Memory channel, it has, I think, about 17 fields. And wait a minute, I think it's I have to look it up. No, it's more than 17. And I think it's the repeater list. But the memory channel repeater lists have a totally different amount of fields. So if you try to load a repeater list into a memory channel, your Icom is going to say, error, restart your radio. And so in this case, I was interested in downloading the memory channel. I would use a repeater list if I was doing D-Star and saving it in a DV memory. Okay, so basically select a number. I'm going to call this Alberta for now. When you're doing editing, it's good to select the right group. It'll make it easier. Sometimes it's easier to break down and save maybe several times with different criterias and a different group index and name, because when you do editing afterwards, it's easy when you have unique characters that you can search by and replace. Okay, and then I like to have the location first. So towns, for example, cities will be in alphabetic order. And then the call sign. Sometimes I do frequencies depending, but call sign is generally. Yes, I'm not concerned about the limits because I'm going to be updating. So I'm just going to copy this, so when I download, I'm going to save that same file, which is on my desktop. Okay, this is the file we downloaded from Repeater Book, which I called All Alberta. This is one method of doing it, though I have a different approach. This is great if you only have perhaps, 20, 50, small amount that you want to enter. In my case, I have about over 400. So this method would be too time consuming. I will show you the method I use. But if this works for you, there's nothing wrong with it. This particular memory channel file for the Icom 705 uses 38 fields, and I believe the repeater list, the one that you would save to the DV memory, is about 17. So first thing I would do is, especially if you're going to create a new file and you're going to be importing it, I got to copy the 38 fields, and then I'm going to say new, which brings me to a new tab, and there you go, and I have a return. Now I'll go back. Let's say I want Calgary. Create a group, all Calgary. So this will happen, Calgary is on top. And I can hit paste. For now, I'm just going to put a space there so it'll be more visible, but normally you do not want to have a space. Now, this is pretty small print. I could enlarge it, but you can easily miss it. So I find it's much easier just to type in the word Calgary, and you can see how many there is in this file. Quite a bit. So you can find it for yourself. So here's the next one. Let's copy this. Just double click, copy, put it in, paste. Okay. Let's assume this is a completed file. You don't want to bring it in and have all Alberta in the number group, I guess it's called, or group number. And it's group number and group name. Okay, so it's group name. So what I would do is copy all Alberta. You'll find, paste, and select replace. I want to call it Calgary. There you go. Calgary is there. Now group 28. I'm going to put a C and a 28. Paste. And I'm going to do the same thing twice, but the only difference, I'm going to put a 02. Now the reason why, if I put just 28, there's 28 inside these fields, and if I hit all, it's going to replace it, and your format is going to get ruined. Okay, let me illustrate. I'll just delete that. Okay, why is it? Here, let me just try this again. That's funny. Normally all the 28s would get highlighted, so I guess I have a bug or something in this one. So let's go back here. This is what it's supposed to do. But it didn't like the 28. I guess it was too many or something. So I grabbed the C in Calgary to make it unique. And then it's going to get replaced with 02, which is the memory channel I want. The comma, which is the field delimiter, and C, it's just unique, and it will replace it. So let's see what happens. Oh, there you go. And what you can do is you create a new folder, or not a new folder, but a new file for every criteria. For example, maybe you're going to want to find, let's say, DV, all the DV repeaters. So, again, you can copy, do new, put in a repeater. Let's say this is not the file you're going to import, but you're just using it as a clipboard or, a scrap piece. After you've got all the DVs together, you made the proper changes, like calling this Alberta DV, for example, 28, maybe it'll be 03 group. Then you basically do a copy. When you're done, paste it in here. So basically the only thing you got to be careful is when you're doing a find and replace, you have to, especially if you say all, or you can replace one at a time, if you can't find enough unique characters, you can end up destroying the format, the data on your file, and your Icom's IC705 is going to spit out and say error, or it truncated some data or something of that sort. So that's basically it. Now I'll show you my approach, because I got over 400 and I can see myself making changes over a period of time. Plus I have several radios. I have handhelds. I used to have the Icom 92AD, the ID, is it ID880? Both of those I sold because I'm going to be replacing it with the ID5100. And of course I have the 705 and the 73. The 7300, it's less complicated in one way, but a little bit more irritating than the 705. I'll mention that later. Okay, let's stop here. I have been using Filemaker Pro since Filemaker Pro 2. Right now it's Filemaker Pro 22 by Claris Filemaker. My last commercial purchase was Filemaker Pro 17. My favorite is Filemaker Pro 16 because I can create standalone apps. They remove that. Unfortunately, with the M1, Filemaker 17 is not working properly, but still usable. Just a lot of little tools made it so much easier, which I lost because of the bugs. Unfortunately, Filemaker, they do not update their previous versions. They just release a new one every year and expect you to upgrade, pay for the upgrade, or sometimes you'll get it free, depending if you bought it within a 6-month previous months before they released it or something of that sort. It's a money grab for me. That's what that is. And that's one reason why I hang on to the older MacBook Pro. The Intel. Works perfect. I can create standalone apps. So I strongly recommend, if you have a good Intel computer, hang on to it. Don't trade it in, because then you'll be forced to upgrade and pay. And then they remove features that you used before. I remember on the same computer, maybe the version was still Sequoia, but probably an earlier version of it. Filemaker 19. I tried it on the trial for 30 days. I believe I used it to create the database for like the TID radio, H3, TID radio, H8, and Waxum, or whatever, some other Chinese brands. I even used the ID880 and the IC92AD. Worked great, no problems. But boy, suddenly it fails to draw the screen, and you get all sorts of artifacts Anyways, when the 30 days was up, I was not going to buy it. Trashed it. Went back to my 17 and 16. Just recently, I would say in the last week or two, I decided, oh, let me try this new one. Filemaker 22, I think it is. At least that's what it says, version 22. Boy, it's buggier than the previous one. It's unbelievable, the quality. In fact, I think they must have noticed that so much so that they renewed my trial automatically twice. Anyways, despite the bugs, I still can get it to work. But I'll hang on to those other ones. Now, Filemaker Pro, it's really easy to use and integrate. What I like about this, I mean, you can use the spreadsheet like Excel or numbers to accomplish the same thing. It's just that I can manipulate the data way better on FileMaker than I can with a spreadsheet. There's no question about that. And I like the fact that I could make this a standalone app if I wanted to and give it to other people who don't have a license to use FileMaker. I can do it. I've done it with a few cases. Basically, since FileMaker 2, everything that I do is required for business, personal, accounting, whatever, all accomplished in FileMaker. I don't use nobody else's apps. They seem to own your data when you use their app, so I don't support that. Anyways, that's the reason why I'm using FileMaker. On my repeater list, I only have 116 records. If I go to view memory for the 705, I have 406, so I got just under 100 memories left. However, I know there's a few duplications in here, which is easy enough for me to remove. If you want to try and download a trial version to try it, you might find it irritating depending on what computer you're using. Some stuff works for a while and then stops working. Like, for example, if I had a speech or a beep to let me know when a particular filtering was accomplished, it would beep and say completed. It works and doesn't work, but I could live without that. Anyways, the file that you create, you can go in and do an import, set up where you want to save, where you want to import the path, and then select the fields that you want to create, and then you can create the fields as you select it. But this is not going to be how to do FileMaker. It's just to introduce you to it. Okay. First of all, let's go to the repeater list. Like I said, I got all the D-stars across Canada. I'm going to be adding Alaska to this. And I don't have to recreate the whole file. I basically do a copy and paste on a file that I already saved. Like, for example, I could replace this file with whatever changes I made by hitting replace. Or if I want to just export a copy because I still want to test to be sure it's okay and don't want to ruin my original file that proved to be working, so I could export and do whatever editing I want with a text edit, like copy and paste all of Alaska in there, and then import it, and then I can tidy it up through here. So, simple as that. Okay. I will go to this form list. This layout is good for a whole bunch of radios. Oh, that's another thing I was going to mention. Someone suggested, why don't you buy one of those apps? I looked at it. For one, $50 US. $50 US. $100 by the time it arrives because I got to pay $25 shipping US. And then it's only for one radio. So if I have 3 or 4 radios, I got to pay $300-400. I can buy this app for that price. The update is only about $200 for me. If they get the bugs fixed, I'll probably do that. And I looked at some of their demos. I don't see it saving me time. There's a lot of editing and changing and so forth that seems to go on. Great, once you've got it set up once, it works. So time costs, I couldn't see through the demos that I was going to gain anything special. You still have to do a lot of work. You still have to import it from the repeater list. I think the only difference is I think it may do it directly if you're connected directly to your radio through a cable. I don't want to connect a cable to my 705. Okay with the 7300. I want to do everything either through SD card. I prefer SD cards because then you don't need cables. So the commercial apps, I could not see no value for me. It may be ideal for you. It's up to you. You have one radio, you're going to know you're going to have it until you kick the bucket. Great. Not a problem. Sometimes some people say I change radios so often that I probably change it more often than I do my truck or my vehicle. Anyways. So this is the fields, and 17, these are fields that it doesn't use. If I go to 705, everything that you see highlighted and bold and kind of purple color are fields that are used. This is the, I guess I didn't sort it, and if I was to go to the end, so my field are at the end of the file. It should be in the beginning when I do an export. So there you go. I like to have that in there because you'll need it for export, and plus it's a good way of verifying that I haven't messed up my fields, so it works. I even download, here, let me go the repeater list. Here is all the repeaters in Alberta, 207 records. Okay, I saved it down in the category of location. So you can see how easy it would be for me to regroup. If you notice, group number 1A, group number, okay, in this particular case, yep, it's done in every city. But however, I decided to regroup all the A's into one, which is what I did with, let me go back here. Okay, so all the A's are grouped as 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. All the B's are grouped as 11. There's about 20 groups. What's nice about FileMaker, when you do a find or a search, you can save these finds and search and reuse them over a period of time. And basically, that's what I've done with the scripts. So I try to minimize repetition by creating scripts that can be shared with other routines. And so I use a lot of variables, things of a sort. It speeds up and makes it easier for debugging. When you make a mistake, usually only one place I need to fix it, and it fixes everywhere else. So that's roughly what this is all about. this might work for you. You know, I've created separate different files for, like here, for the 5100. They both have a repeater list and a memory list, and I even created one for the 7300. That one, would you believe? Let me show you that one. 51 fields. The IC7300, 51 fields. Unbelievable. And of course, it only has one memory bank of 99. So I'm surprised it doesn't give you the option to save the memory. The only way I can use this, I have to use like an app called SDR Control, and it reads the memory and I can export it. So it wouldn't be too difficult for Icom to update the 7300 so that it saves the memory channel as a CSV file and not have to depend on a third party. Because when I check, everything's all one file settings, which is of course I believe is encoded into something. I haven't played with it. So that's basically it. It's great. You know, once this is created, it didn't take me that long. The cosmetics probably takes more often, which is what I got left to do. I just try to make it as simple as possible. And so this is the fields or the layout I create for each radio. And then when I want to have a better view and do editing and so forth, then I'll switch over to something like this. Okay, that'll be it for this. Regarding the Openspot Pro, boy, I come close to ordering, but I'm glad I didn't. The amount of money I had to spend on that, I can buy myself. Actually, it's cheaper to buy the Icom 2730, but it doesn't have D-Star. The ID5100, I think, is around $600-700. So if I'm going to spend that much on Openspot Pro on something that I may not need or hardly will use. I do have terminal mode, and then with the ID5100, I'll have both. I know the D-Star repeaters are down right now, but once they're back up, I wouldn't need it. So I can use reflectors. But I'm still researching the terminal mode. I think there's a couple of tricks that might show up that even give you another reason to forget about these other apps. And then this other unit, the raspberries, when they were $50, yeah, but now they're $150, $200. And then the Pi-Star setting apparently might disappear, so you'll have to do everything manually yourself. I guess if that's your hobby, sure, go for it. But time is important for me. Anyways, I will end this. Hopefully it's of a benefit. I would appreciate you subscribing if you haven't, and thumbs up. I know that YouTube, they like to eliminate unsubscribed people. I noticed that. I've caught that a few times. And also the time. You know, they literally knock off hundreds of hours. Yeah, because I keep track of it every day. And it's unbelievable how they keep reducing it. If this continues on, I may have to consider moving on to another method, because who wants to be cheated? I certainly don't. Well, we'll see what happens. Oh, well, this will scroll through here. This particular has lots more fields. Oops. There you go. This one, of course, fits in one page. I like to keep it the size smaller than my desktop 16-inch, so I can zip in. I do have multiple windows. I like switching through, so, and each app has their own window. Again, appreciate it. Have a nice day, and if you have any questions, feel free to send in the comments and we'll do our best. Take care, everyone. Bye.